Hello, Lucky Units. My name is Titan, and today we're going to go over the match between Orbit and Creamy Milk that happened in week 12 of VRML. So let's get right into the first clip. First here, we see Orbit with the disc, controlling it outside of Milk's bubble. They're passing the disc back and forth, just controlling it, playing time, forcing the defenders out. Eventually, they do see an open pass in, and they're able to get the 1-2 pass into Zenith, who's able to score the goal. So it was really good overall play by Orbit. They took their time here. You can see at this position here when they're controlling the disc with two people outside of the bubble still. They've got three of Milk's defenders inside the bubble and one just out here pressuring Sneaky a bit. And you can see here, this player here, Altered, is playing a really key role in this play. Even though he never actually touches the disc, if you watch back from the beginning, he's just moving back and forth, moving around the bubble, keeping cover, creating space for his team, causing the defenders to have to move around. And just even just simple movement going back and forth here, eventually pressuring the goalie, leaves this lane open, keeps the one extra defender off of his team so his teammates can move over. They create this space open, and they're able to make the pass to Zenith, who's able to move into the goal. So just a good play by Orbit, keeping the disc out. This player moved up a little bit, tried to pressure since they were a little bit far back. That forces Jailgram to move off of this player, move up here because he's just pressuring the walk-in. That leaves Sneaky open. They pass to Sneaky. Jailgram immediately tries to respond to that. His teammate's also on this side of the goal. The defender and the goalie are still being distracted by this player. That leaves Zenith open on his shield, and they're able to get it into the goal. It's a really good play from Orbit. Let's jump into the second clip. You can see here a joust by Orbit. They get the disc and toss it. Just a little bit of a bad toss there. See Jason picks it up, passes it to his teammate. Jail just kind of walks it in. Fortunately, Orbit is able to make the save in the clear. It gets picked up by Shepard, though, who takes a shot off the bottom trench, and that goes in. So just a big mistake by Orbit here in this play is that after they made the save, they got a little bit too excited about it. They made the clear, and all four of them immediately stacked up and started boosting. So that once the defender caught the clear, none of them were in a position to be ready for it. And even if he didn't take this kind of a risky shot, he still had Jason open on the left here who could have passed to. And that would have been that was a really bad mistake by Orbit to when they cleared the disc, they stacked up as four, and instead of leaving somebody back to wait, because you see the disc is not out of their zone yet, and they already are stacked, they're already pulling. And then so once the disc does get intercepted, they're not ready to respond, and they don't have enough time to be able to get back there. So there's a little bit getting a little bit too excited from Orbit and letting that get past them. If we go into the third clip, you see Callan controlling the disc, passing it to his teammate. It's a good stun. Passes it down to JL. Pass to Callan on the shield, and then Callan's able to take it in. So something that Callan did here that's really good, as you can see here, in this point, he's being covered by Zenith. And so as soon as because this player gets the disc here, Zenith sees that this player is not being covered at all and is just going to walk it in if he leaves it open. So he has to leave Callan now. So he leaves Callan immediately. And as soon as he leaves, Callan drops down to the bottom of the shield. Because when he was being covered initially, Callan was at the top of the shield. And so as soon as Zenith changes directions, he drops to the bottom. You can see as soon as this player goes for the pass to Callan, watch where Zenith's hands go. He puts them up above his head. He tries to predict that that Callan is still on the shield. And so he throws his hands up to try and block the pass to the top there. But Callan's on the bottom, so it goes right under his hands. Callan's able to sink the shot. So really good positioning. As soon as his defender, the person who's covering him, leaves, he's able to immediately switch positions slightly. So he's still in a really good position to score. But he's in a position where his teammate can get a pass to him, and the defender's not going to be ready for it. So yeah, misleads the defender, is able to get the goal there. So it's a really good play. Just a heads-up play from Callan, moving his positioning and confusing the defense. So we go into the fourth clip here. We get control from Orbit here in the tunnel. They're moving up the field. They're controlling the disc. Pass back. Unfortunately, gets past the defense and is able to get cleared back into his own end. Something that Milk did here, again, that was really smart, is that once they got here, I'm assuming they had comms here that this player was holding up this stack. And so instead of making an extra 1 or 2 pulls and getting to the disc a little bit faster, they split their chain here so they can cover the pass. Because this player's only real option, and you can tell from the way he moves the disc here in just a second, is that he was planning to make this pass the scoop as soon as he got pressured. Milk thwarts that, though, by splitting up, covering this pass, so that he's forced to sort of make a split-second redecision and try and pass it back to his teammates. His teammates, unfortunately, weren't able to communicate properly what they were doing. And so instead of having the back pass open, they were both coming in for a closer cross pass, which would have worked out if they'd been able to communicate it. But because Milks was able to cover the cross pass, this player had to make a quick redecision and just threw it back for the back pass, which unfortunately his team wasn't ready for. And so they ended up making a back clear to their own end, which eventually gets picked up by Milk. So just a good play from Milk, splitting the chain, recognizing where the player was looking to pass before he'd passed it, and then covering that, making him try and rethink his decision, which ended up causing a mistake. So go to the next clip here. We got a control from Orbit. Drops the disc a little bit, but still under control. Taking their time again. Just moving out, a pass under the goal, gets intercepted and cleared out by Milk. They do end up getting the chain to it. So just a quick note on something like this is that a lot of teams and players work on passing a lot because passing is very important in this game. But a lot of people just pass and try and get their passes to be as accurate as possible directly to their teammates. The general thought process that goes through a lot of teams and players' minds is that you want to pass it directly to their player, so they don't have to lunge for it like this, because that could cause a miss potentially if they have to lunge or jump or duck or boost somewhere, step backwards, slow down, just grab the disc. That's generally a bad thing, and so that's generally thought to be a bad thing, but it's not, because you can see in positions like this, the disc goes right to this player's hand. It was a beautiful pass if this defender hadn't been there. But unfortunately, he was, because, and you can see here, this defender was at the bottom of the shield here. And so when going for a pass that's kind of in a risky spot like this, you always want to try and give the defense the benefit of the doubt that they could pick a pass that you're making. And so a better play here would have either been to pass it wider, out towards the side, make his teammate unanchor for it. And even though his teammate would have been in a worse position for unanchoring, it's still a safer pass, and it's absolutely worth the minor disadvantage you're putting your teammates in to retain control of the disc. Because he passed it right here, this defender is able to get there. If he'd passed it a little bit left, a little bit lower, if he'd gone for a bounce pass off the goal, off the floor, his teammate might have been able to get it. And so just keeping the passes towards the edge of your teammate's reach, because even though it would have been better for Altered if he'd caught the disc while anchored. The chances of that getting picked if you pass it to the spot where you can get it while anchored is much higher. So it's better to just pass it a little bit wider over here towards the bottom of the screen, towards the floor, somewhere where you can get to it where the defender absolutely can't, without a doubt in your mind. So if you're ever making a pass and you think, man, the defender could get to that if you really tried, you should probably pass it just a little bit further away from the defender, so there's no way he's going to get to it. And that's a hard skill to master, is being able to judge exactly where people's reach is. But you can see this is a clear instance of them slightly misjudging it, and Milk punishing for it. So going to the last clip here. You see Orbit with control of the disc.
Got a ding off.
Controlling the disc, moving it down their side. And what's great to watch about this play is just the way that Orbit controls the disc. You can see here they're controlling it, they're moving it back and forth, and then they're controlling the pace of the game. So on that more in a sec. So you can see here, they catch the disc in their own end. Let's go right back to the beginning of the clip. They catch it and they clear it almost immediately. Alter gets a pull off. This player gets the disc, and instead of moving up even quicker to his teammate, or he doesn't have a teammate ahead of him, so he's got to pass it back. Because he's being covered. This player gets the disc, passes it back to his teammate, who then passes it back to the tunnel, and this player stops. So Orbit went from playing really fast here by passing it straight up, long pass down the side of the arena, to playing slow by passing it back, controlling the disc in the midfield. Still playing pretty fast right here. And then as soon as the disc gets to here, this player slows the play down. And the pace of the play slows dramatically right here. because he stops, he holds the disc, he waits for his teammate. You can see he's still got a teammate who's way back here, still moving up through the bottom of the arena. Now that player is in the play, which is what he was waiting for. They can get passed down to him. Orbit still playing pretty slowly here, baiting out the chain because Milk is getting a little impatient here. Then immediately, as soon as the chain comes out, as soon as their player is back in the play, and that's the reason they were playing slow, they play fast again. He makes a really quick pass to his teammate on the post, who's then able to take it in. So it's a really good example of like the pace of the play changing dramatically from like second to second, literally in this clip. You see a pretty fast play at the beginning, control between players who are undercover. Immediately the play slows down dramatically. They're waiting for this player to move up, not really passing, pass it down. And as soon as the defense gets a little bit anxious, you can see them they have one player up here covering this player up top. They have this player pressuring the disc, and immediately the play speeds back up again. They pass it to this player. The defense isn't able to get quite back enough, and they're able to get that goal. Just a really good control of the pace of the game by Orbit, controlling how fast the game is going, which is really good at throwing off the defense. So when the pace of play changes dramatically like that, it can cause people to make decisions that they really wouldn't make if the pace of the game had stayed the same. So you can see here, Milk was still kind of very much in the we're playing fast, because they got this chain, they boosted all the way back. They were still expecting a fast play, and then Orbit slowed it down. The play slowed down, they're like, and then Milk immediately thinks to themselves that they have to pressure, because now Orbit is playing slow, they're playing control, and we need to pressure them so that they make this play so we can force mistakes. And as soon as Milk just starts getting used to the slow play again, Orbit immediately turns the speed back up, makes a long pass to their teammate who's open, and they're able to get the goal. So that's a good play from Orbit, controlling the pace of the play. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.